We have with us today another speaker. I would like to introduce her to all the participants. We have with us founder and chief mentor of Ananya Tech, Training, Education and Counseling Services. She is Vandana Rai, who is with us to talk on work-life balance today. With a 22 plus years of experience in to services and allied sector, she has provided her service to many sectors and organizations, including many universities. And with her profound knowledge today, I hope she will give us a very or enlighten us on how to balance life and at home and at workplace. So I invite her to this platform and to this faculty development program, and I would like to hand over the session so that she can carry forward with her speech. Welcome, Vandana Rai, ma'am. Please
Thank
take over.
you. Thank you. Good afternoon to all of you. I would request everybody to just pin on my name. When you do that, when you reach to my name, there's this pin button. Just pin my name so that you all can see my face while I'm talking. I have kept my video on so that, and I would request if there is not much of bandwidth issue, we all can see each other. That would be great. If it's comfortable with you all, to switch on your video. Keep your audios on off, but let's keep our videos on. And when you go on that small icon, you'll see there's a pin button there. So just pin me, so you'll get me on your top of the screen. Are you able to see me? Cool, great.
Yes.
Wonderful.
Yes, madam.
I hope you are on day 4 of the workshop and it's been going great. I have been, coming in between other sessions because sessions were so interesting about meditation, yoga, exercises. Just now you had things on diet management. So this is something we all are always thinking about. But unfortunately, most of us, we don't take out time, or we are unable to take out time to work on it, isn't it? Yeah. So today, as Dr. Aradhana has rightly said, that we are going to talk about work-life balance. So before I start talking about it, I would like to understand, what do you mean? I mean, what do you understand? What is your expectation from it? If you want to unmute and talk, you can do that, or else you can write in the chat box, whatever way is convenient to you. What is your expectation from this, beautiful 1.5 hour or around 1 hour, which we are going to spend together? What is the takeaway that you're expecting? Anybody would like to talk or, give some input to us about, because these sessions are always about co-learning. Whatever I'll be talking, I'll be learning much more than that, because I'll be talking as a single entity. And there are more than 100 of you who are here for this session. So that is the kind of learning I'm expecting. So that is my expectation from this session. I would like to know, what is your expectation from this session? You want to write in the chat box, or you want to unmute and talk? Please go ahead. I would love to see your expectation. Yes.
Hello.
Yes, Dr. Kiran. Yes, tell me. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, ma'am. Actually, this session is about balancing your life. Actually, we sometimes involve ourselves in so much of work that we will not be able to maintain our family time or our personal time. So by this this seminar or this webinar of yours, we will be able to balance that, so that we will take out time from our studies or from work, so that we could adjust in our personal and family time.
Wonderful. So what you're trying to say is that you're expecting to understand the ways by which you can have some family time, manage your time more. Mr. Simantika is saying how to manage personal and professional life. Idea is to reducing stress. Then somebody writes, manage our time effectively, review job activities, priorities, and success factors. Wonderful. This is exactly what we are going to do. So that it shows that we are on the same page. You definitely are looking for what I have to share with you all today. And believe you me, whatever I'll be talking, most of it you will think, oh, I knew about it. It's just that I'm here today to remind about it. So I'm not going to talk about rocket science, any kind of rocket science. Many of you are doctors, researchers, and you have written so many papers and books. So definitely it's nothing about any kind of science, any kind of new technology, or any kind of revelation or gyan that I'm going to do. It's simply about just reminding those small little things which we keep forgetting, and that is why these workshops are basically for, to remind us about the things which we have forgotten in day-to-day life. Now, before I start, I'll give a little background about me. Dr. Aradhana mentioned that I've got 22 years of experience, so that is my work experience. Actually, I have got a 45 years of life experience. So I feel that the day that we were born till today, we have been learning continuously, and so that is our experience. At times, when we talk of experience, we just talk about the day we started earning, the day from where we started making money from whatever our qualifications or our abilities. But we forget that the years that we have spent in gaining those qualifications, those skills, when we were when we were growing, when we were with family. And if you look back, if you just think about to your own, you'll feel that most of the things what you believe in today, what you're doing today, what you want to do today, was all decided or sculpted or ingrained deep within your system right from your childhood day. Maybe something which you heard your grandmom talking about and you want to do it today. Maybe something which you saw your parents doing and you want to do it today. Something your neighbor, something your friend has said, and that is so deeply rooted in you that you want to follow that today. So most of the things that we are doing today is only outcome of the learning that we had before we started earning, right? So this is one, you all are researchers and all. If one of you are a researcher in psychology or social sciences, please change the format of CVs that is made today, wherein we talk of experience only for the number of years that we are paid for that learning. We never mention about the learning and the key, the major part of learning that happened before that. So with that, allow me to share my screen and I'll start with the presentation. Yeah. Managing time and getting happiness. Yes, happiness is core to all of it. So I totally agree. Allow me once 30 seconds to share my screen. You all can see my screen now. Please write yes in the chat box if you can see my screen. You all can see my screen? Okay, cool. So now, as you know, the topic is work-life balance, but I don't call it work-life balance. I would call it life balance. Why life balance? I'll come to it when we go ahead with the class. So what we are trying to learn is what is life balance all about. There are certain myths which we are missing out. When we talk of one of the myths is definitely work-life balance. So that is why I have given the heading, because that is something with which people, most of the people, they will be able to relate. But what are the myths associated with it? There are certain beliefs which are not true, so we'll discuss that. We'll see what are the signs of unbalanced life. How do you identify that you are living an unbalanced life? Then why do because most of us are community leaders, or we are going to be community leaders. Many of us are teachers. We are heading one of the teams in corporates. So basically this portion will talk about that how balancing ourselves is more than that. It's important that we understand that why is it important to balance others in our life. How do we create balance for others around, who look forward to us, who want to, for whom we are role models or whom we are leading in life. So how to create balance for them, because that will ultimately impact balance of our own life. How do we do that? What are these balancing tools? And then there are 2 exercises we'll be doing. That will be, I have got another session tomorrow morning. So we'll be doing 2 exercises to actually, get some tangible takeaway from this session and start balancing our life. We'll understand how balanced we are, and we'll make a roadmap of how do we further make it better. So that is about the takeaways that I have for you all for today and tomorrow's session. Now the next thing is, we all said that, why to balance. It's very, important a thing for us to understand. Why do we need to balance? Anybody would say, why do we need to balance? You want to talk in between, you can talk. You want to write, you can write. Why balance is so important?
So that the stress can be reduced.
Sorry, Anita.
Yeah, so that the stress can be reduced.
Stress can be reduced, definitely, but why do we need to work so much on us?
Pardon?
To lead a
Why?
happy life.
We can be more happy, yes. And why do we want to make ourselves happy? Nagma, you want to say it? Allow me
Yes,
to
it
take...
will work.
Yes, Nagma.
It will work. It will work efficiently at the workplace and so at the home also. Like we'll get peace of mind. We will be able to do justice to both.
We'll be able to do justice to both. And before I actually go ahead and take all your first name, please allow me to do that, because I really can't see who's doctor, who's professor, who's Mr., who's Miss. So I'm just taking the first name, please. And you feel free to call me by my first name. Yeah, please. So to be happy, to take care of aspects of life, for contentment, I would simply say in one word, because we love ourselves. Isn't it? I mean, we all say that we are living for our family, for our work, for your partner, for your kids, for your parents. But end of it, we are doing all of that for all of them is simply because we love ourselves. So if you are in love with yourself, and that's a fact, none of us can deny, whoever wants to live a healthy life is the person who is very selfish. You know why we are selfish? Because we love ourselves. We want to be healthy for ourselves. You can say that you want to be happy for others, but actually we want to be happy for ourselves, because until you be selfish and be happy for yourself, you can't make others happy. Anita, your voice is breaking. If you can repeat and or write if there's some problem with the microphone.
Huh? So
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We all are selfish. Okay. Managing stress, about making a plan to be able to cope effectively with daily pleasure. So these daily pleasures are actually, loving yourself and making sure that, when you love yourself, you're happy. When you're happy, you try to spread happiness to others. So basically, being selfish is the most selfless thing one can do. Please make a note of it. Being selfish is most selfless thing that one can do, because until you are selfish, you take care of yourself, you be happy yourself, you can't do it to others. It's just next to impossible. You will give energies to people what energy you have yourself. Do you all agree with me what I'm saying? We all are selfish, and be proud of the selfishness that we have. It's very difficult to accept that you are selfish. So once you've accepted that you are selfish, that is where the journey begins. Okay, so now we come to the next slide. Now, life balance, we have been talking about, you spoke about meditation, yoga, exercises, weight training, diets, and n number of things to manage your stress. So basically, you're trying to manage your life. It's not that the stress we are addressing through this webinar of 5 days, but actually we are trying to address issues or to manage our life. So when you look at it, it's all about the choices that you make. And when we talk of choices, the choices could be about your family, about your profession, about your love life, about your kids, about your finances. So you can't do it all. So I would like to share a small video. Let's have the look at that video, and then we'll go ahead with the rest of the class. Please let me know if you're able to hear it. I'm starting again. You all can hear it, right?
Audio is not okay.
Oh,
Not audible, ma'am.
It's not audible. How come? I'm just sharing this link, and then we will.
If you have connected earphones, then you have to take out the earphone to listen.
Others can hear it?
No, ma'am.
Nobody can.
Take out your
No, ma'am, no sound.
what I'll do, I think there is some problem with the settings, so we'll not waste much of time. I'm just sharing the link over here. You all can, I've shared the link. So basically, I'll tell you about this video, even if we are unable to listen to it. So what happens? Deepika is waiting for Ranbir there at the fort at Jodhpur, and then he comes, and then he wants to go for some sound and light show happening at one of the monuments, and she says that if you she asks him to sit there and enjoy the sunset, because the sunset seems to be very beautiful and much talked about. So he says that if you don't if you don't go for the sound and light, so that is something I'll miss out, that I've heard is like it's great. So Deepika says, oh, that must be great, I'm sure that must be great, but if you go there, you'll be missing out this beautiful thing. So now, as you are here in present, let's enjoy this sunset, which is equally beautiful. And life may, you have to leave something to get something. You can't get the best of all of it. You can't have your, best of the things of the world, and at the same time you be at the other part of the world and have the best of the thing of that world also. So that is what it says, that life is all about the choices we make. It's simply about the choices we make. Now, when we talk of the life balance, the first thing is to understand what are these choices. So we all are very clear about the fact that we have got limited time, energy, and money, right? These are the three things which we have, which we earn, or we want to, or we want to earn, or we want to share, or we want to divide, or we want to prioritize. So these just three things: time, energy, and money. Energy also includes your emotions, your value system, your belief. Time is 24 hours a day, and money is whatever you have earned, or you're earning, or you're planning to earn, right? You all agree? So now there are three different sources that is asking for this. These sources are family, society, and work. So family and society, so you are getting it from them and you want to give it to them. And then you have your own priorities. So one is your own self. The second one is your, the second dimension is your family, society, and work. So you are getting it from them and you are giving it. So they are demanding and you have your own priorities, which as per your priority, you will be supplying it to them. So when we talk of life balance, it's not about having best of both the world. It's about having the balanced of both the world. Means how much you want to give to family, how much you want to give to society, and how much you want to give to your work should be balanced as per their expectation, in sync with their expectation and your priorities. If your family says that you be with me 24/7 and at the next day they say that let's go for a Europe vacation, that's very unreal. They want both of it. So as per your priority, you will have to decide that how much time you can give to save how much money for the Europe trip next year for them. So am I clear here about this dimension? That we have got very, very limited resources. Not just us, the entire globe, the environment, the nature, it's very limited. So how much we have to take and how much we have to give to whom is what life balance is all about. And that is what we are going to discuss. Now, this is a standard format. This is a standard model that we all would agree in sync. There will be hardly anybody will deny from it. It's a very universal truth that I'm speaking about it over here. But having said that, the other thing about life is, and this model is, that this model is different for each one of us. So how much time you're giving to your family will definitely differ from how much time your neighbor will get who is working from home, or who does not require to have any kind of professional or monetary engagement, is into agriculture. So he just goes to field to work for whatever number of months and then he's back home. Somebody who's a professor in a college and somebody who's in merchant navy will have very different priorities. So somebody will be 3 months, he won't be around for the family, and somebody is there 12 months around the year. So your priority with family, your priority with work, somebody is working in a night shift, so you'll have to balance rest of the things during the day. Somebody is working 9 to 6. So you'll have to balance rest of the things in mornings and evenings. So it's different for each one of us. changes with time. What is my parents' routine today was totally different when I was growing as a kid or when they were studying. So our priorities keep changing, and so our life balance tools also. Process of continuous adjustment. It's not that, you know, today I'm like, for coming 9 years I'm going to have I'm taking care of my both the kids and my parents and my wife and my job, so I'll have the same thing going on continuously. So then there won't be any movement in life. So even during that time, it calls for continuous adjustment. And when we are talking of the tools tomorrow, which we'll be using to understand our life balance, we will understand it better, that why we need to evaluate our life balance every 3 months. Because every 3 months, you need to have some kind of fine tuning done for one of the elements. Then, the next one is, you have to understand that you have to give due weightage to each aspect of life. Like there shouldn't be one aspect of life which you are giving more important. Here somebody writes, so many people were talking about yoga and meditation and diet as road to happiness, but actually this is what matters. We'll come to that. You know, yoga, meditation, diet, weight training, running, jogging, swimming, these are all tools, you know, as of now. So you see how the workshop has been moving. As of now, we were understanding tools to be taken care of in our life, which most of us have forgotten. Now, by end of the workshop, today we are at day 4 and we are in the third last session. What we are going to understand is that how to now balance it out. You know, while you're watching yoga session, and this generally happens with when you're watching a yoga video or a meditation talk, you feel, oh wow, this is the thing, I need to do it now. From today, I'll start doing it. The next class, yoga, you say, from today, I'll start doing it. Then diet, oh, from today, I'm going to take care of it. At night, I'm not going to have carbs. I'll have Loki soup at night. You know, all that starts. And you are done with the class, you go out, and then there's a kid shouting for some project work. Your parents have got some sudden illness. You are not feeling well, and you forget about everything. Next day, maybe 2 days, you'll follow few of it, and then you forget about it. So this section is about how to integrate all of it in your life and how to balance it out. How to have a realistic plan to develop and integrate all of it. Yeah. So now we come back. Now we come, I told you there are certain myths about life balance. So the first myth is balance or integrate. The section, you know, this section's heading also I kept intentionally to keep work-life balance, you know, because every time, in fact, it's my own experience. When I started doing these sessions some 12 years back, for good 6-7 years, I was doing it only for the professionals, and their only thing used to be, you know, work is taking too much of time. I'm not having time for my family. My wife is cribbing. My kids are not talking. My parents are ailing and I'm unable to give them time. You know, I'm unable to go back to them. And every time, you know, work was at one part and rest of everything was in the other part. And then I saw one of the videos of one of these motivational gurus, and I saw that what he said, that if your work is not your life, then might as well you don't do that work. And that is the day I realized that my sessions need not be work-life balance. It's about life balance, because work is just a part of your life. If you're not enjoying it, if it's not letting you do rest of the thing in the life, so it's a real villain in your life, and you might as well say bye to that work. Otherwise, first of all, from your within, you integrate work in your life. Work is no different in your life. In life, you have got pleasures, you've got emotions, you've got relationships. The same way you have work. So why do we always... So first thing, the first myth that we need to come out of it is, it's not work-life balance. It's about work-life integration is what we are going to talk about. You all agree with me? It has to be integration of work-life. We don't have to balance it out. I mean, you don't have to give 6 hours here, 6 hours there, 6 hours there, and 6 hours for my sleep. Life is not lived in compartments. You have to break the wall between people say घर पे काम को छोड़ के आओ और काम पे घर को छोड़ के आओ. I disagree with it totally, because that's not real. We are humans. How can you forget about your beautiful family when you're coming to work, and how you can forget about the beautiful appreciation you have got from your team when you come back home? You'll keep talking about it the whole evening. So it's very stupid to actually say that leave your work back to office and your home back home. You should not do like that. So the first effort of, you know, balancing it out and keeping it in different compartments is one myth that we need to come out of it. So the first learning lesson, please write it down strongly. Life is about integrating the funds. It's not about balancing out all the, so you can't say that today I'll do 1 hour yoga and then 1 hour meditation and then I'll take care of this diet. No, maybe I'll start just with yoga to begin with, and slowly I will integrate rest of the things in that, and then that is how my life, then eventually I'll arrive to a point where everything is integrated and I'm having flavor of all the aspects of life. If you try to balance it out, it never happens, because we are not weighing scales, right? Pura time we can't keep weighing, this is 80 grams, so now meditation is 20 grams, and now work is 50 grams, and now my life relationship is 200 grams. It doesn't work like that. So we, instead of making us weighing scales, simply we do what we are best at. And humans are best in integrating. We are able to integrate so many things financially, globally, environmentally, everything. So why can't we do it for our own life? So that is what the first myth is, that don't try to balance it out. Try to integrate it. Am I clear on this? If you all agree, just type yes there in the chat box so I can move ahead to the next slide. I'm audible to everybody? Because we have to take technology, you know, we have to integrate technology along with, otherwise, you know, it's very difficult. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for so many yeses. Now we move to the next myth. And the next myth, gentlemen in the team, I'm not against you, but this is what is my life learning is. Most of these sessions which I used to do, I told you initial 6-7 years, used to be work-life balance, and for female employees on International Women's Day or some women initiative that a corporate want to take. And work-life balance means all the female staff of the office, and we are talking about, and I also used to talk about it. Why? Because we feel the females are multitasking, they are doing n number of things every day in the life, and that is why they need it more. And then once again, another myth, how it got broke, I started, you know, when you introspect, when you think about your past and you see around, I would see that my husband, when he comes back to office, definitely is not helping me with other household, and that used to give me lots of anguish. But one day I saw him talking to the insurance guy, taking care of our loans, taking care of our EMIs, talking to his parents, talking to my parents, and I realized even he has things with, you know, back home, and he also needs to balance out, and that is why on few days he comes back on time from office so that he can do these things, because sitting in office, otherwise he's come to a position wherein he cannot do all of it. And that is where I felt that work-life balance or balancing life is equally important for men also. So it's a big myth that only women need it. You know, at times we women, we try to use it as a tool for us, or at times, you know, our you know, work colleagues, they make us feel that we are thinking too much about balancing life, and they make, so either you are in guilt about it or you try to take sympathy on this as a woman. And as a man, you feel at times, you get into self-pity with the thing that, oh, even I have to, screen is not visible because I have come, I want to see all of you. So when I look at your faces, even if there are photographs, I feel more comfortable discussing. So whenever screen is needed, I'll go back to that. So there were just pictures there. That's why I was saying, if a couple of you can switch on your video, if you are in that condition to switch on your video, please do that, because I also love, you know, looking at beautiful faces with smile. And I hope you all have got a beautiful smile now, you know, because this is something about loving yourself, being selfish. So smile is the key ingredient of our, you know, self-love. And when we smile, I mean, best, you know, ugliest of the faces look so beautiful. I mean, we all smile when we have to click a picture, right? So that shows that we know that we look beautiful when we smile. So keep smiling, take care of yourself. End of the day, last session, but we will rock it, right? So yeah, nice. Nagma, thank you so much. You've got beautiful hair. So yeah. Yeah, camera not working, not compulsory. Now I've got 4 or 5 beautiful faces, so that is enough for me to keep motivated throughout the session. So yeah, so I was talking about females are the only one who need who need work-life balance. It's not that balancing life is equally important for men also, because even if they don't do too much of talk show about it, there are not too many memes on that. There are not too many people supporting them, and there is no activist group doing that. But they also need life balance. Now Nagma says women are multitasking, generally not getting enough support from men. Very true, Nagma. I totally agree with it. But at times, being women, I mean, again, having a number of years that I have spent as a married woman, I would say initially we feel like that. When you look at things, the kind of pressure, when you talk to your male colleague, the best way is to talk to your male colleagues at work or in your neighborhood or in your relation, and you see their worries. You see why, most of the men, in fact, there was a survey on which I just was studying other day. Most of the men, their main insecurity is that they're not able to do enough for their families. So if they want promotion, I'm not saying females don't do that. We also do most of the things, but at times, yeah, Nagma. Yeah, Nagma, you're saying something.
Yes, of course, men are doing their job and they are also doing a lot of things. I understand that. But then at the end of the day, all the responsibilities fall back on the woman. Like even if you are working, you're supposed to take care of everything. The meals that has to be cooked, the child that has to be taken care of. And I have seen it among all the sectors. I mean, from the middle class to the upper class, everywhere this is prevalent. Even if you get help, and the help is not coming, then again responsibility falls on the woman.
Okay.
So I big
Nagma got your point. Totally got your point. Now, Joseph, right? I don't want to get into a gender discussion here, but then it's a very beautiful thing, and I'm not going to, leave it open. I'll just close it quickly with the Joseph says, "Not true, ma'am. In my home, I do most of the work," and that is true. See, here we are not talking of generalizing the thing, but there are households wherein either man is doing much or the woman is doing much. So what we have to do now here, what is the takeaway? One of the takeaways that we understand that nobody overdoes nothing. Now again, maybe at my home when I end up taking most of the micro responsibilities. So initially it used to, irritate me a lot. But then I realized that maybe I'm more capable of doing it. There are certain areas which I'm not so capable of doing, and that is what my partner is taking care of. So now I feel proud of it, and sharing with you all inner this thing. I don't want to lose this, privilege of doing most of the thing for my family. Why? Because that makes me feel important. I'm selfish. I want to feel important. I want to feel wanted. So that is the, that is the reward that I get. That when I'm not at the dining table, or when I'm not at home, I have gone to my family misses me. And the same way we miss our husband when he's not around, because he has got a great sense of humor. So that is how he gets oxygen. So I always say that I'm the oxygen cylinder of the house, and you are that pipe through which oxygen comes out. So you have to balance it out, and it's very difficult to do it in one go. It happens in steps, and we will learn eventually that how we can do it. If you feel that you're overworking, there is a way to communicate it. I'm not saying all of us are fortunate to have balanced or understanding partners, but then we have to communicate it, and we'll come to that eventually in today's and tomorrow's session. All right, because that is also very important. If you don't feel proud of what you're doing, when you don't feel wanted also at the same time, then there is no point. Then there is no self-love involved. So we come to the next myth, and the next myth is another very interesting myth. Most of the duties in most of the offices are given to the men who are not married, who are the young joinees, or who have no families, or who are staying alone, or who are staying in a hostel or a PG, or just being on and eating out and all. Why it's being told to them? Because it says that the moment you have home and families, you have to go back, balance it out. But the single men and single women, they are very free. They have all the time. So other than work, they can do. They don't have to do anything else. Another myth. They also have, so if they have chosen to be unmarried, if they have chosen to be single at the given age or whatever, that's their personal choice. That does not make them anything less eligible to have a balanced life. For them, balancing may not mean spending time with spouse and kid. For them, balancing may mean that they want to have more of leisure time. They want to have some entertainment. They want to go for vacation. They want to write more books. They want to give time to their health. So balancing is not just work and your family. Balancing is work, family, health, relationship, vacations, happiness, spirituality, globe trotting. There are lots of things that comes in balancing. So it's another myth that only single men, only married men are the one who strive for work-life balance or balanced life. Single men are all free to do all kind of job. So these are the three myths. One is we need to integrate it. There is no need of balancing it out because work is actually part of our life. The second myth is that the women only need it, whereas men also need the balanced life equally. And then also the single men or women, they also have need for. So these are the three, work life or the life balance myths that we have discussed. Now we come to the next part of it, to understand, are you balanced? Now tell me certain signs or certain symptoms which you feel are the symptom of unbalance. See, most of us today, when you're having all these sessions, it must have come to your mind that you're not living a balanced life. So what are the indicators which makes you feel that you are not living a balanced life? Just message in the chat box, or if you want to talk, you can talk about it. What are the indicators of an unbalanced life? Poor time management, very good. What else? What else? Poor time management, stress, yes, very good. So stress is actually not a problem. Stress is a symptom. Stress is the symptom of not balancing things which you have been talking about since last 3-4 days. Stress is a symptom of a very big problem, and that problem is called integration of life elements. What else? Poor time management, stress. Anybody else? What makes you feel? A lot of responsibility? Yeah, so you feel overburdened. Yes, you feel you don't know where to start from. Difference of understanding, wastage of energy. Yes, you feel that you're not getting results, right? So exactly these are the things which I'm going to talk about. Time management. Yes. So the first and the foremost, so there are 8 symptoms that I'll be talking about. The first symptom is that you're always running late for things. So not just to your work, to your class, to your office, but in general, you're always late for your work. You always end up arriving late for your bus or train. You keep missing your flights. So this is the first indication that there is something wrong in your balancing act or your integration act. Now and later, you always keep shifting things to tomorrow. So today you will think that, okay, I'll do it tomorrow. Then in the evening you'll think, okay, I'll do it, while before I go off to sleep. Then maybe there is a research paper submission that due date is tomorrow. So you'll think, I'll go to office and during the free time I'll do it. Then you'll think that at lunchtime I'll do it. And then at 5 o'clock you're sitting and doing it because you have to do it today, and you go back home, you won't be able to do it. So you keep shifting your timelines. You are disappointed, you don't get success, your success rate goes down. Somebody said that loss of, wastage of energy. So you're putting in lots of effort, but somehow you're not getting results. Because why? Because you're not focused. Somewhere you are missing the bus. Poor self-motivation. You don't get motivated to do things in life. You don't feel that things are important, or there is no drive. The best indicator here is that you don't feel like getting up from your bed in the morning. Every day you think that tomorrow I'll go for a morning walk at least for 20 minutes, and you don't get up. You keep your shoes, your exercise up, everything right in front of you while sleeping, but in the morning you just simply can't get out of the bed. So that is the indicator of poor self-motivation. Absenteeism not just from work, but absenteeism from family get-together, absenteeism from with the in any kind of get-together that friends have organized. So a friend calls up that, okay, let's go for a movie today, and you're lying at bed and you lie to him, no, yaar, I'm too much at work and I've got a deadline to meet, so you guys go ahead, I'm at office. But actually you are lying on the bed and you don't want to come. So absenteeism from happy occasions of life. Then the next one is health risk. This is the very dangerous indicator wherein your unbalanced or unintegrated life start affecting your blood sugar, your cholesterol, your creatinine, your LFT, KFT, your BP, and n number of things. So when you go for your blood report or your health checkup, and you see so many bold and red numbers over there, so that is the alarming bell that there is something wrong in your lifestyle. Stress, as I told you, stress is just another indicator. The stress is an area wherein always you have got bad headache, you have body ache, you can't get up. If you stand for some time, you start feeling tired. So the indicator of stress is that you most of the time you feel very tired and low energy. You feel sick. You always feel feverish about yourself. And the last one is burnout. So if you look at the first 4 indicators, they are the initial symptoms, and the last 4 are at the extreme end. Burnout is a stage wherein one fine morning you get up and you don't call up your office and you simply don't go to office. You one fine morning at work, you keep working till 12 o'clock, and end of the day you are not done with anything. You don't want to come back home. You don't know nothing what to do with your life, and that is the extreme condition. And fortunately, God's grace, I hope that none of us have arrived there. Even if you have arrived, you have to start moving backward. You have to now work on it and come out of it. And it's not very easy, but it's achievable. It's achievable if you take that first step. It's just a matter of taking that first step. How to do that, I'll share in the coming slides. Now I'll be sharing. Till here we are on the same page. Everyone is having expectations from women. We are so fortunate, Dr. Archana, that people, see, if somebody is having expectation from you, nothing better like that. And my dad always used to tell me that if somebody is asking something from you, that means God has, given you that authority, God has blessed you with the thing that, you are in a giver position. So if people are expecting things from women, that's, what else to say? You're so powerful. That is called women power. That people are looking forward to you for their happiness, for their food, for their day-to-day, small little things. So that is what women empowerment is all about. Women empowerment is not about being Jhansi ki Rani and going with a delegation to one of the leaders and sitting at India Gate. That is not women empowerment. Women empowerment is acknowledging, realizing, and ensuring that you are worth what world is thinking about. Yeah, it's good, but women never get credit for anything. We'll come to that credit. First give credit to yourself by saying that people are expecting too much and you are not happy about it. You are snatching away credit from you. Presentation is not missing, Professor Arivazan. I have come on the other screen, so I'll go back to presentation again. Don't worry, there is nothing on presentation which you're missing. I have come here. I have come here to meet up with you all on the other screen. So now if you look at it, women never get credit, I agree, but women don't get credit because we don't give credit to ourselves. Start giving credit first to yourself, not to the world. At least I have done so and so things for you. You start giving, start and feeling proud and feeling happy about the things you are doing is the way to give credit to yourself. So if I have to go back, yeah, Jacqueline, you're saying something. Jacqueline, you're trying to say something or your audio is on by mistake? Okay, I'll go ahead. So here, we shall be proud of ourselves first. Yes, today I had a session in the morning. I have a session now, and then after this, I'll be making tea at my place because my husband is on a webinar. I'll be going back to my parents. My father had a stroke and mommy also is not keeping well. She has got heart ailment. So I'll be doing their tea, coffee, everything. We don't have maid because of this lockdown and Corona thing. I'll be doing their dinner, coming back here. By the time I come back, I've already done my dinner in the morning. So we don't believe in making fresh food every time. We use our refrigerator and microwave a lot. So, and then I'll be having dinner with my family. So yes, but while doing all of it, I'm feeling so happy that, oh my, I say thank to God that I'm so blessed that I have got that kind of energy and I have managed my life so well that I'm able to do all of it. Always there'll be credit, but not in front, only when they are not in that place. That is true. I have seen my father, my parents, my daughter, my husband talking about me when I have got to know from other people. And I'm not saying that if it's happening with me, it will happen with all of us. But believe me, you start giving credit to yourself by being happy. And there is another very important thing: learn to say no. How to say no is a very good art. You know, that we can have a whole day discussion and a session on the thing that how to say no to things. So something where you feel that it's beyond your capacity to do it, you will not feel happy doing it, then don't do it. It's not just about your work, it's also about your responsibilities back home. Ma'am, do you feel guilty that unlike homemakers, you cannot make fresh meals for family? Dr. Sherin, not at all, because in between in my career, whenever I got these guilt pangs. My daughter had to come to my mom's place and have a lunch, and I wanted to cook for her. So from year 2016 till 2020 earlier, I was on a sabbatical while I co-founded my own social entrepreneur enterprise by name of Green People, which works for reverse migration in Himalayas. So I had taken and I to come out of that guilt. So I did it. Now my daughter is 18 and now I don't have that guilt. So I totally agree with you that you get that guilt that you're not cooking fresh food. But then I have done it, and now, so that is what I'm saying. Your priorities, your integration keeps changing. I wanted to give time to cooking for my food, and I made a conscious choice of letting that, you know, SMS coming in the beginning of the month that your account is credited so and so amount. So I quit my academic job with one of the leading universities and I started working from home. So I could cook for my family, and I'm out of that guilt. So trivial praising and getting applause don't work all the time. At least we can expect rewards or recognition on earthly way on this earth. This all starts from you acknowledging it yourself. If you don't acknowledge it, then there is no point world acknowledging it. So that's what I'm saying. It won't happen within a day. It will happen. The world is moving around them, but they are not realizing. See, I don't want to again start a gender specific discussion over here, but the bottom line is it's not just about gender. Many times we don't appreciate men also about the fact that they are doing so much of about the family. Audio, is my voice breaking? Is my voice breaking? Am I audible to all of you? Say yes if somebody wrote audio.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm audible. Okay.
Yes, yes, audible.
So, see, I don't want to have a discussion on which gender is doing how much and who's appreciating. This session is not about appreciation. This session is about self-appreciation. Understand the fact. Balancing life or integrating things in life starts with your self-appreciation. So at least, and the first sign of self-appreciation is do only what makes you happy. But you have to see the opportunity cost. You all would know, I mean, researchers and the learned people, what is the opportunity cost of you not doing something or you doing something. By doing something, if you are getting some appreciation or self-appreciation, do that. But by not doing something, if you're getting more self-appreciation about the fact that, yes, I was able to say no to something which was not making me happy, please go ahead and say no. But this is all your personal call. And tomorrow when we are doing that exercise, you'll understand that how do we prioritize. Again, I would repeat, you can't have it all. You can't always have that figure, you know, mother figure or father figure, and then end of the day, you're not happy about it. Might as well you let few people in your life think bad about you, but you be happy, because if you are being happy in longer run, you'll be able to do good for them. Stealing 30 minutes every day for oneself is absolutely okay, irrespective of gender and age. Yes, not just 30 minutes, I would say still 24 hours of the day for your own self. If I'm having this session today, I would share the prime reason about it, because after my daughter, I would love to share this good news with you all. She scored 98% just now in her 12th, and she has scored 100 out of 100 in 3 subjects. So then she told me that, Mama, enough of it now. You please get back and explore your full potential now. And she told me, Mama, you remember your classes, the way you used to have it, why you have left all of that. I'm so proud of you, of that part of you. And I started doing it for her, but then now I felt that this is what I always love to do that. I love to teach, train, and coach. And that is why I'm here. So I'm saying no for the freshly made food, but then I did that for 2-3 days. It was a botheration for me and my family, but then everybody is happy now. So in longer run, it's always wonderful to say no to a couple of things in life. Thank you, Dr. Sherin. Thank you for your blessings. Now we come to the next slide, wherein now we'll talk about some balancing tools. It says GO or GNEDO, lifestyle modification, plan and revise, prioritize. So we'll go one by one with each one of them. Now, when I say GO or GNEDO, how do we do that? So the best way to do it is me time. You all know what is me time? You know what is me time? You all enjoy your me time? You enjoy your me time? Yes. See, my me time is when I go for my morning walks in the morning. I'm so definitely morning walk happens in the morning for 1 hour, and when I'm driving. So me time is a time when you are in complete silence with your own self. So even if you have 10 people around, that's so you can't really do it in a crowd or in amongst people. I mean, you need a very different level of mental peace for that. So I generally do it when I'm not surrounded by people. I just go for. I love outdoors. So I go for a walk in my society campus only, and then when I'm driving. So during that me time, I appreciate myself. I sing song, I listen to song, I plan my day. I get best of the solutions and best of the ideas when I'm having my me time, because there is no interference that time. So having a me time, why it is important for your life balance? Because that gives you lots of thought as in how to deal with your life. And once you have your me time, equally important is to have your we time. We time is having time with your loved ones. Now, these loved ones could be your family, could be your colleagues also. So always prefer to have lunch time. Don't just sit alone and have your lunch quietly. Try to create a group wherein you decide a day in the week when people are getting different dishes, and all the offices do that. You share your food. One of the days you can ask one of your friends, say, hey, you get tiffin for me, my wife is not there. Or you say, my husband is not there and today I'm not cooking for anybody, so you also get food for me. So when you ask people for these small little things, that is where you make your bond stronger with your team. Then next is lifestyle modification. Enough has been spoken about it. Meditation, yoga, diet. What I'm adding to it is rest. Rest is equally important. So rest is not just about sleeping at night. Will you kindly provide the PPT of this session? Yes, I will definitely. Tomorrow at the end of the session, I'll be sharing all the entire detail of the PPT. Don't worry. I have my me time. Wonderful. You have the me time. So rest also means that during the day, at times when you're done with, you just take a quick walk in your office area, or if you're at home, you're a homemaker, just pick up the phone and talk to someone. So take these small little breaks during your normal thing. So resting means doing something away from your regular thing. That is rest. Sleeping during the day is something which I won't recommend because it has never suited me, and I know about people who, because they sleep during the day, their night sleep gets affected. So it's not recommended to sleep. You should go actually in your bedroom only at night when you have to sleep. Otherwise, if your body gets used to of your bed, that is one of the reasons we don't get good sleep at night. So use your bed only at night when you know that it's your night time and you are feeling sleepy. Otherwise, don't touch your bed. So that is what rest means. The next thing is plan and revise. Very, very important. Use your e-diaries, your mobile, your WhatsApp to yourself, your SMS, and plan your thing and keep revising it. Because you all know that, we make to-do list. And every day we make to-do list. But most of us, we don't realize that how to carry forward from yesterday's to-do list to. So every day you have a new to-do list. You do that, and then you forget about the next day you have got a new to-do list. So instead of doing that, you maybe decide 2 things for the day and you complete it. So when you're planning, have timelines to your plan. Don't just say that today I have to do this, I have to do that, I have to go here, I have to go there, I have to buy this, I have to buy that. No, just write that I have to do these 2 things today, and this is the timeline for doing that. So that is the right way of planning your thing, and keep revising it. The next one is prioritize. As I told you, I prioritize that now I have to go back to my calling. That is, I have to come back to my coaching and training role. But then I had to compromise with my, domestic role, that is like cooking fresh food for my family, and I did that. So I had to prioritize, but there was a time when I prioritized that I want to cook for my daughter. Very soon she'll be going to college, she won't be home. So when I'll make food for her. And that is something I was missing as a working mom right from the day that she was born. So last 4 years, I have done enough tiffin cooking and dinner and meals and small snacks and everything I've done. And she's content with it. In fact, she's exhausted with that. And I'm also very happy and content. So you have to prioritize with time. Then prioritizing is 80-20 rules. You all would know that with your 20% of focused effort in the area of priority, you achieve 80% of your results. So you would see that 20% of time that you do in planning, tomorrow we'll do this exercise, actually fetches you 80% of the outcomes. And if you're not utilizing that 20% of focused approach, your 80% approach will only get you 20% of outcomes. So it's on us that it's not about balancing or integrating does not mean keep doing it the whole day. You do it for a limited time and then you enjoy. You should also have time to relish outcome, relish your success, relish the pleasures of life. So that is what 80-20 rule was. Then set very short-term goals. I spoke about the healthy breaks. Went out walls, very, very important. You know, if you listen to all these spiritual gurus and, you know, best of they talk very good things about, you should not talk bad about people. You should not criticize anybody. You should not share if you're hurt with somebody. I have a little disagreement here. I say that don't keep doing it all the time. But at times, it's very important that you went out to people. You share your, you know, discomfort. You share your hurt. You share your agony with people, even if at the cost of sounding a bad person. So identify that one person in your life or few people in your life where you can open your heart out. If you felt bad, don't think that if I say that I felt bad because my daughter gave more importance to her dad, I'll become a mean mother. No, you'll not become a mean mother. I also feel the same. Everybody feels it. And when you talk to people, you'll actually see that most of us have the similar gray emotions. They're not bad emotions, they are gray emotions. And it's very good to share it out, because by sharing it out, you're actually venting out and you're coming out of that gray energy. Okay? So have those vent out people. If you don't have anybody in family or friends or colleagues, identify some coach or mentor or some counselor. The presentation is coming and going. There is no issue about the presentation. I'm coming and going. I'm coming to the screen where I can see you all, and then I'm going back to the presentation mini. So please be comfortable. To open up mind and heart is so important. So truly, yeah. Thank you for your compliment, Dr. Sushmita. Then learn to detach. Very, very important. And you have to reward yourself for this part. You must have seen the nurses and you know, these health workers. When I used to initially go to hospital with my mom, she was unwell. I would see she's my mom. I'm like so particular about touching her, and she should not get pain. And they are coming, they're just picking her hand up and they're giving one injection, and they've got this cold expression on their face. They're like expressionless. I used to get irritated that how they are doing it. But then I saw that these are the nurses who are actually helping her to recover from her ailment. And then eventually, with my own understanding of life, I understood that if they don't detach with the patient, if they don't treat that patient as just another body, they won't be able to inject that injection, because that's a difficult task to pierce somebody with a needle. So they have to get detached for their job completion. The same way we need to get detached about our responsibilities. So if I have cooked a bad food one of the days and my family doesn't like it, I can't, I mean, definitely I get senti about it at times, but that's not right. If I don't detach, next time I won't be able to make a better food. If today you are not being appreciated for something back at work, you can't really get grumpy about it. That emotion is all right to come at that moment. Speak about it, vent it out to somebody with whom you can talk. But then be detached, have a holistic view of the situation and understand why has it happened so. And that will take you out from most of the gray emotions that you have. Then learn from the past. Keep reminding yourself about the learnings of the past. Don't remember the incident, but remember the learning. If you remember the incident, that means you have not moved on. That means you have not detached yourself from there. But if you remember that learning from that situation, you will never repeat that. So keep having self reminder, and that will really help you to know that what not to do in life. And the most important thing in life, no TGIF. What is the full form of TGIF? We all know about that. Can somebody tell me or write what is TGIF? TGIF. Anybody? Is thank God it's Friday. Most of us have got this, working people, we have this syndrome. Thank God it's Friday. That means now weekend is coming, at least I'll have some breather. So one issue that we have done in our life, we had done, and I'm sure from today we'll see work as part of our life. It will be like work is different and life is different. So that myth we have broken, we have come out of today, and we have integrated work in life. The second myth we have to break, and we have to ingrain in our system, there is nothing called weekday and weekend. Let's look at it as a week, as just another day. Be it Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. The other session I was taking the other day, and somebody said, oh, Sunday I remember because I have got a whole lot of washing and household work which I have to do. Somebody said that day I have to take my parents for the checkup, and I have to go to their place, and I have to spend time with them because I don't spend time during the day, I'm at office. So what has happened, very conveniently and very innocently, we have draw a line between a weekday and a weekend. Why have we done that? Why can't we equally divide our happiness, our fun, our work during the week and during the weekend? It could be different means. During the weekday, we can give some time for household work, the same time which we are giving to the office. But during the week also we can have fun. In the evening, you can have some lunch get together with your neighbors. You can go to your parents' place and have lunch together. You can go for a movie. Who has stopped? Movie shows and everything happens during the weekend also. I mean, it's another thing now in lockdown, you don't have that option. But then we are the one who have drawn. There was no calendar when the calendar was made, or whenever it was just 7 day a week. We have made those calendars with 2 blacks on Saturday, Sunday, and rest of the whites on rest of the days, or color coding, or the block, weekends are blocked, highlighted, and the weekends are those dull shades, and in our mind also. So the other thing which we are going to do is, please don't have that line drawn between weekday and weekend. Divide your happiness activities and your responsibilities and your pleasure moment, everything throughout the week. So that is another thing you need to integrate in your life. So that is about the balancing tools for self. Now, why it is important, why we are having this session for most of you is because most of you are community leaders, either in form of a professor or a teacher or a corporate leader or a mother or as a son or as a father. So here I will talk about your role as a teacher, why it is important for you to live every day, to balance your life, to integrate all these elements of your life 24/7, all the days of the week, is power to empower our society in which you are staying. So here I'm talking of a student-teacher relationship point of view. You can look at it from your colleague and boss point of view. You can look at it as a neighborhood point of view. You can look at it from family point of view. So it's very important now, as you are balanced and you are on the way of balancing, it's important for you to also understand aspiration of the other person. What makes their life beautiful? What makes their life happy? Maybe you are telling one of your students to do one assignment every day that will help him for a foreign university admission or to get a good corporate job, and maybe he is not aspiring for all that. Maybe he wants to start his own business, or maybe he wants to go back to his village and help his grandfather in the family farming activity. So you have to understand aspiration of the other person and help them to understand. And you will be able to do that only when you are a happy soul, when you are a selfish person who loves himself and who has started balancing himself. Be a role model, and be a role model only when you will be able to start practicing all these tools in your life. Share and encourage to explore options. Yes, you have to tell them that what are the options available. Help them to understand the out of the box, think out of the box, get into some creative ideas, tell them about the happenings around. And like today, if you talk of the students, the new entrants in the college, The job market looks very bad because of the corona thing, and we need to be real about it. That we should not be in denial that no, everything will recover in a year. We know it will not recover in a year, so let's accept it. So what are the other options? Help them to go for self-employment option, help them to have the ability to get into entrepreneurship, help them to have, you know, added skill sets like getting into photography, getting into writing, getting into research, which can give them some additional income to sail through till the time the job market becomes better, or they actually become skillful to, you know, manage their own finances. Stay at forefront. Don't ever try to leave them alone. Always stay at forefront, means lead by example. Always support them from the back and lead them from the front. Encourage buddy system. You know, it many times it happens. You all know what is buddy system. Anybody would like to share what is buddy system in colleges and in schools? Anybody has done it with your student, or also in corporate houses? We have these this buddy system by HR. Anybody would like to share that? What is a buddy system? Yes? Anybody? Okay. A buddy system like mother in a class? No. Okay, so in buddy system, what happens as a senior person of a team, as a teacher or as a corporate leader or as a mother, many times you can't address many issues. Or your juniors, be it your child, senior training junior, exactly. So here the training is not happening in proper training format. It's happening with people with two different capabilities or two different level of intelligence. You can make their group, informal group, and they can share their issues. So somebody who's academically very intelligent and somebody who's emotionally very intelligent, you can make a group of these 2-3 kids together and they are buddies to each other. So instead of coming to you and telling you the thing, they can sort out things amongst themselves. And this works really well. I've personally experimented it for years. So what happens after the first semester when the result comes out, and whoever are the top 15 students, we try to link them with the rest of the top 15 students in group of 2 each, without telling them that this grouping is done based on their CGPA or whatever SGPA. So what happens, they start interacting, you give them common project, you keep them together when you're going for excursions and all, and slowly they learn from each other. So somebody, even if that person has got a low intelligence in academically, maybe good in something, maybe in some other skill set, or maybe emotionally very strong. So this academically high kid will learn from that person and vice versa. So this is another tool which can help you to create a balance in your environment. Highlight limitations. Don't always show the rosy picture. Don't make high expectation in them. You'll come out of the college and you'll come out of this, leave this work and you'll go to heights, and this is, sky's the limit for you. Tell them limitations, what they can't do. Give them real expectation and show them real dreams which they can achieve. And the most important thing, make interesting classrooms. And here I'm talking of classroom because I'm talking from student-teacher perspective, but create interesting environment around you by having lots of fun, by adding sense of humor, by lots of storytelling. I was listening to Sudha Murthy ma'am the other day, and she said that most of her students, they don't remember her computer class. What they remember is the stories that she discussed in the class. So if you want that bond to go stronger, if you want them to learn the life lessons, use lots of stories in the environment, be it with your kids or with your students or your colleagues in the environment. So that is how you can empower your environment with the best of the balancing tools and techniques which we have learned today. So that is about me for now, for today. Now we have got 5 minutes left, which we will have some discussion. If you have some one-on-one questions, I will be able to respond to that. Tomorrow when I meet up, please come back with the paper and pen, because we are going to do certain exercises. I first wanted to give you the thing and come out with a printout of it, but then I thought drawing by hand will be a better activity wherein we all will engage. And if you're drawing it, you're writing it, you'll always remember for lifetime. Even if you don't do it again, at least this exercise you'll remember for lifetime. So now the session is open for the presentation. For the question answer, I'm stopping the share, and the presentation I'll be sharing tomorrow. So anybody has any question, you feel absolutely free to ask me. Yeah, open for question answer. I know you all are getting late for the day. I can see the participants number going lower, and I don't have any guilty about the session quality about it. I know it's end of the day, so you all are getting late for other responsibility, and that is perfectly all right. We'll catch up with the rest of the participants tomorrow. But anybody has any question, feel free to ask me. Anybody? Either you can unmute and talk about it, or you can ask in the chat box. Really nice, wonderful. That means it's time to clap and say bye. So I take it as a message to conclude the session today. Thank you so much. And it was a very interactive class. I also learned a lot, lots of issues and challenges that we all are facing in life. And that was the learning for me from this session. So yeah, Dr. Aradhana, I am done. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Thank you so much, Vandana Rai, ma'am. It was a very interesting session. We'll be waiting for you for another session early tomorrow morning. So I think we should call it a day.
Yes.
We are eagerly waiting for the next session. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.